In this walkthrough, we are going to talk about how you can manage users in the team edition of Cloud Portam. There are a few things that I want to talk about before we actually get into the walkthrough. First, who is a user? So basically, a user is a person who uses Cloud Portam. The next thing is that the user must be present in your Azure Active Directory as well as in Cloud Portam for the user to use Cloud Portam. Having the user just in your Azure Active Directory does not grant him or her permission to access Cloud Portam. So a user must be present in your Active Directory as well as in the Cloud Portam. And the way you will bring the users into Cloud Portam is through a process called import users, and this is something that we will demonstrate in this walkthrough. The third is that a user in Cloud Portam will have a management role. The management role could be an administrator, or the role could be that of a co-administrator or that of a user. One thing that you have to keep in mind that the user's role in Cloud Portam is not related to their role in Azure Active Directory. So a user can be a global administrator in your Azure Active Directory, but then the same user can have a user management role which has the least privileges in Cloud Portam. The fourth thing that we need to talk about is that a user is granted permission on a cloud resource. Now, when I say cloud resource, it would mean an Azure storage account, or Azure search service account, or Azure document DB account, and an administrator grants permission to a user on a particular cloud resource. And this is something that we will cover in the walkthrough. So now the basic concepts are clear. Let's see what all things you can do as far as user management is concerned. First is you can import users from your Azure Active Directory into Cloud Portam, and this is something that you have to do in order for those users to use Cloud Portam. Second, you can remove users from Cloud Portam. Please keep in mind that when you remove a user from Cloud Portam, the users are not removed from your Azure Active Directory. They are still available there. They are only removed from Cloud Portams, and what that would mean is that they can no longer access Cloud Portam. So that's remove users from Cloud Portam. The third is you can change a user's management role. So for example, if a user is in user role and you want to change the role to that of a co-administrator, you can do that. Lastly, what you can do is you can change users permission on a cloud resource. So you could do something like user does not have a permission on cloud resource. Now you want to give some permission to that user on the same cloud resource, you can do that. So these are the four things that you can do as far as user management is concerned. So what we will do is our walkthrough will be divided into two parts. In the first part, we will only talk about importing users. And then in the subsequent walkthrough, we will cover all these three things. So let's start with importing users, how you can import users from your Azure Active Directory into Cloud Portam. So let me go back into Cloud Portam. So here I am in my Cloud Portam. So right now the place where I am sitting in is the management team dashboard, and you can access this from anywhere in the application by going onto the settings icon up on top and then clicking on management team. So you are here. So now what I will do is I'll click on users, and now what I'm doing is I'm fetching all the list of users that are already added to the Cloud Portam. So I'm adding that, and see, so right now I'm the only user and I'm in administrator role. So now what we want to do is we want to add more users who can use Cloud Portam. So to do that, what I will do is I'll click on import users, and so now what it is doing is it is actually fetching up the list of users from your Azure Active Directory. So right now, these are the users that are there in my Azure Active Directory, and as you can see, I'm already added, so I cannot add myself again. Now let's try to add these users. So now when I click on the checkbox next to the users, see how the text box for the username became enabled, as well as the drop down for changing the user role. So let's add this user Akshat Mantri as co-administrator, and we will add more users. So, and user, and then another co-administrator. And another thing, if you need some help with what a role, a user in a particular role can do, click on this role help thing, and it will tell you exactly what a user can do. So for example, as far as application access is concerned, as long as the user is added or the user exists in Cloud Portam, they can access the application depending, irrespective of the role. Now as far as management activity go, a user in user role does not have access to any management things, right? A co-administrator on the other hand has limited access to the management. So for example, they have access to the management area, but they cannot import or remove users, or they cannot change user roles, right? Similarly, they don't have access to the billing. Likewise, an administrator has complete access to the application as well as to the management portal. So be careful who do you want to grant administrative privileges. Okay, so now I'm adding these 4 users into Cloud Portal, and so I have selected these users, I have set their roles. Now to add them, I just have to click add selected. So at this time it is adding 1 user at a time. So now all of the 4 users that I wanted to add have been added, and I can see that by going into the user screen, and now I can see that Akshat Mantri is there, Archana is there, and these people are there and with their respective roles. So this is how simple it is to add users from your Azure Active Directory into Cloud Portam. In the next walkthrough, what we will do is we will talk about other things like removing users from Cloud Portam and changing their roles or changing the permission.